Over history, every single event, including the caveman 100,000 years ago who stood in one position for 1 millisecond too long, impacts us to this day. What we are actually interested in are the major modern events that impact us the greatest. The advances in science and technology during the Industrial Revolution are one of these major events that affect us to this day. Inventions like the steam engine, sea drill, and vaccines allowed the human population to grow like never before. The sea drill was invented by Jethro Tull in 1701. It allowed farmers to plant seeds quickly in many rows as the machine plowed the land and planted the seeds at the same time. This raised productivity, causing farmers to be able to plant more than average. Over the next 100 years, farming started to become commercial and away from subsistence farming, increasing food yields, thus making food more available and allowing people to have more children without starving. The steam engine was invented in 1712 by Thomas Newcomen. It was very inefficient, but an efficient version was developed by James Watt in 1770. This new steam engine was quickly adopted in manufacturing as it allowed factories to produce products without being next to a river. Later on, the steam engine was adopted as the main form of transportation. This created more job opportunities in the city, which caused a mass migration to the cities, forcing more people to interact and thus make more babies. The invention of a vaccine, specifically the smallpox vaccine, by Edward Jenner in 1796 prevented many deaths that were caused by smallpox. Around 13% of deaths in London during the 18th century were from smallpox, and most of the deaths were of children, which means that many people died without creating more children. By preventing the deaths of children, the children would multiply. I mean, a few 100,000 people in 1800 could turn into 10 million. And one of them could be you. What I'm getting at is that these new advancements are one of many that, as you can see in this graph, caused the population of the planet to nearly triple from 1700 to 1900. And previously, it took 700 years for the world population to double. The population of humans increasing by that much is a huge impact, as you would probably not exist if the world population didn't tenfold since 1700. Another major event is the scramble for Africa. It does not have a major direct impact on us, but what it really is the coal to the flame of World War I. So, the scramble for Africa started on the 15th of November, 1884, when the powers of Europe met in Berlin to split up Africa. It concluded on the February 26, 1885, and of course, no one was satisfied with what they got, especially Germany, as Germany only had 1.1 million square miles of colonies, while France had 4.3 million and Britain had 13.1 million. So, tensions rose over the claims. This is a contributor to the arms race, as they needed to protect land they claimed in Africa, as well as their homeland. This competition led to World War I, which was extremely impactful. World War I basically caused World War II and led to the collapse of many empires, including the German Empire, the Austrian-Hungary Empire, the Russian Empire, and the Ottoman Empire. The atomic bomb. The atomic bomb was first seen as a possibility when in 1938, German scientists Otto Hahn, Lise Meitner, and Fritz Strassmann discovered nuclear fission. Nuclear fission is the basis of the atomic bomb. Nuclear fission is when a neutron slams into a larger radioactive atom, breaking the atom into two parts, creating a ton of energy, and more neutrons that continue the reaction. The United States, which was scared that Germany had been working on an atomic bomb for some time, started developing nuclear technology, in this case, the atomic bomb. The Manhattan Project, which saw the creation of the atomic bomb, was authorized on December 28, 1942 by President Roosevelt, and on July 16, 1945, in White Sands, New Mexico, the first working atomic bomb was detonated. The Trinity bomb had a yield of 21 kilotons, which is equivalent to 21,000 tons of TNT, which is actually 1 ton more powerful than the bomb dropped on Nagasaki. In total, they spent, adjusting for inflation, $24 billion US dollars. The development of the atomic bomb then leads to the development of nuclear reactors and the much more powerful hydrogen bomb. The atomic bomb shaped modern history as the United States and the Soviet Union went into a Cold War as nuclear weapons deterred direct action. As the Cold War has caused most wars and conflicts in the past 70 years, and the atomic bomb caused the Cold War, we have reason to believe that atomic bombs have hugely impacted history so far. Also, the use of nuclear technology is the future of humanity. The modern world, which we will define as the year 1980 to the present day, has seen many similar developments to the previously discussed events. The advances in scientific technology during the Industrial Revolution were life-changing and groundbreaking. Similarly, technology developed since 1980 has changed the world. The inventions of the Industrial Revolution were all purposed to make life easier and also make money. The World Wide Web and later internet inventions were all created similarly to make money and to make life easier. The World Wide Web was first invented by Tim Berners-Lee in 1989 for scientists worldwide to communicate quickly. The original World Wide Web was to make life easier by allowing scientists to communicate and share data quickly. Soon after, Berners decided to create a version for the public. The World Wide Web was released on April 30th, 1993, and soon after, the first websites were created. The first transaction on the internet was on a website called NetMarket on August 11th, 1994. This set the basis for future ways to make money through the internet, like Amazon. So, by making the internet, it made life easier, and by creating online marketplaces, it made life even easier and created an immense money opportunity. Thus, this development is similar to the ones during the Industrial Revolution. Interestingly, the scramble for Africa is still going on. The EU, Russia, China, and the United States are scrambling to gain a grip on Africa. The original scramble for Africa happened because the European powers needed resources. The modern scramble for Africa has the exact same reasoning. All groups currently scrambling for Africa are looking for economic gains. The only difference is how they do so. The EU is currently scrambling for Africa through the means of securing commercial positions through sustainable investments and regional economic integration. Russia is scrambling for Africa by establishing its influence in Africa through military means, arms supply, and conflict intervention. China is scrambling for Africa by financing infrastructure projects and providing commercial loans. Finally, the United States has a trade agreement called the African Growth and Opportunity Act, granting duty-free access to the U.S. market for African countries. Overall, the current scramble for Africa resembles the one in the 19th century. The invention and creation of the atomic bomb came from the fear of the enemy creating the weapon first. Similarly, in 2010, the US government found out that its adversaries started creating hypersonic missiles, thus beginning a race to develop them and ways to protect against them. Hypersonic speed is defined as going over Mach 5 or 6,125 kilometers or 3,836 miles per hour. The difference between ICBMs and these new hypersonic missiles is that they can change tracks. For example, an old ICBM can travel much faster than hypersonic speeds, but once it's launched, it is on a set course, so it's easily tracked and destroyed by anti-missile systems. However, the new guided hypersonic missiles fly at lower altitude, making them harder for radars to detect, as well as being able to be maneuvered around known radar sensors. The maneuverability and the fact that it travels faster than hypersonic speeds make these missiles impossible to shoot down. The two types of hypersonic missiles are hypersonic cruise missiles and hypersonic boost glide weapons. Hypersonic cruise missiles are first sped up with rockets and then use a scramjet to sustain speed. Thus, they are easily maneuverable. Boost glide weapons are first launched into space. Then, using gravity, the weapon glides to the target with the aid of propellants to maneuver the weapon at speeds of up to Mach 20. Currently, the main leaders of hypersonic missile technology are Russia, China, and the United States. The creation of hypersonic missiles is similar to the creation of the atomic bomb, as it is created out of fear of the enemy gaining a technological advantage. Although the wars impacted us in many ways, the technological impact is what I'll focus on. The world wars are both similar in that they both saw massive technological leaps, which impacted us greatly. World War I officially started when Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia on July 28, 1914, which caused a chain reaction of war declarations, as everyone had allies that then also declared war. But there is more than just a declaration of war. The first major tensions was the scramble for Africa, as many European powers fought over land in Africa. Other factors, like the main factor, which stands for militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism, which include the scramble for Africa, are the reasons the war happened. The technological changes that took place because of World War I include planes, tanks, and many other technologies. For example, plane technology at the beginning of World War I was just 11 years old. Planes were small and used for reconnaissance. For example, the BE-2 biplane was a plane introduced into the British Air Force in 1912. It had a weight of 625 kilograms, or 1,378 pounds, and its top speed was 116 kilometers per hour, or 72 miles per hour. It could also carry at most 221 pounds of bombs. Later, in 1917, the Germans introduced the Zeppelin Staaken R series, which was designed to bomb targets. And it's a true example of how much plane technology increased during the war. This plane had a weight of 3,927 kilograms, or 8,658 pounds, and could go 135 kilometers per hour, or 85 miles per hour, while carrying up to 4,400 pounds of bombs. The quick increase in plane technology, as well as many other technologies, boosted the evolution of technology, which impacts us to this day. As well as technological impacts, the impact of the conclusion of the war is important. On November 11th, 1918, with the surrender of Germany, Germany was forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles, which was very unfair to the Germans. For example, the Germans were responsible for every single dollar in damages for the whole war. This caused Germany to crumble and allowed the rise of Hitler, which eventually led to World War II, which had an even greater impact on the future. World War II began when Nazi Germany invaded Poland on September 1st, 1939. The war all stemmed from the bad terms of the Treaty of Versailles. After World War I, Germany became destabilized, which caused one of the greatest inflations and economic depressions in history. The people of Germany resented how the Treaty of Versailles forced them into poverty, and thus being susceptible to propaganda which allowed the rise of dictators like Hitler, who had grand views of taking over the world. Hitler secretly built up a military and started his plans, and thus the war began. The technological advancements during World War II are astounding. They range from the first jet planes to the first guided rockets, and of course the atomic bomb, and even technologies like the digital computer. Technology developed during World War II has had one of the most significant impacts on the modern world. The United States first created digital computers in 1943 to calculate artillery trajectories. The computer is called ENIAC, standing for Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. It was 50 by 30 foot, or 15 by 9 meters, and what set it apart from other computers of the time was that it could be coded and executed up to 5,000 additions per second. This is important as before World War II, people calculated problems by hand. Another great leap in technology was in rocket technology. During the war, Germany was fond of creating weapons that could single-handedly win the war. One of these weapons was the V-2 rocket. The rocket is 14 meters long, 1.6 meters wide, and carries 900 kilograms of explosives and an onboard computer. The rocket is famous for being the first man-made object to cross the Kármán line, which is 100 kilometers or 62 miles, the line where it becomes space. The MW-18014 V-2 rocket launched on June 20th, 1944. It made it 176 kilometers or 109 miles into the atmosphere. The V-2 rocket accelerated the exploration of space by a lot. After the war, V-2 rockets were taken by the United States, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdom, as well as many scientists of the V-2 program who helped their countries in the famous space race. Germany surrendered on May 8, 1945, but the war ended when the atomic bomb was used. 2 bombs were dropped on 2 cities in Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. on the 6th and 9th of August 1945, respectively. Soon after, Japan surrendered on August 15th, 1945, ending the war. The legacy of these technologies impact us to this day.